Hello to you, my entrepreneurial friend. Hello to you, my friend who sells a service for a living. My name is Brian K McNeill, and I'm the sales confidence coach. And for about 29 years now, I've been helping people just like you to sell themselves and their services better than they ever have before so that they earn more money than ever before. That's what I do as the sales confidence coach. I've written 4 books on the topic and I'll help you with them as well. So let's get right to what we're here for today. How do you answer the question of what do you do for a living? What do you say when someone asks you what do you do for a living? It won't surprise you, but very often, very smart people have great difficulties answering the question of what do you do for a living? It's been popular in this country to try to develop a great, what they call elevator pitch. And they work on your elevator pitch. And I'm here to say right up front, I want you to never pitch again. Don't even do an elevator pitch. In any pitch competition, I would win easily, but I don't pitch, and I don't want you to pitch either. I want you to tell your story. Tell your story because there's 2 types of people that love stories. One of them is children, and the other one is adults, and we know that's true. If I pitch anything at you, a ball or brick, you're either going to get hit by it or dodge it or catch it. And none of those are things you want people to do with your business. None of those are things that you want them to do with it. So I'm going to teach you how to answer the question of what do you do for a living. First off, let's get rid of some stuff. If someone asks you what do you do for a living and you say anything like I do real estate, or I do insurance, or I'm a life coach. When you use these types of phrases, when you lump yourself into the category of everyone else who does what you do, that's exactly how they're going to take you. They're going to put you in the category of anything that anyone does that's even close to what you do. So I don't want you to ever answer the question starting off with, I do real estate, or I do insurance, or I do life coaching. None of that stuff. Don't say I do because you're lumping yourself into the category. A lot of people, they attempt to give what I call cute answers to the question. So what do you do for a living? Well, I'm in the lifestyle pleasuring business. So I'm in the lifestyle people pleasing business, or I'm in the help you enjoy your day business. Those are cute answers, but they don't sell and they don't compel. They just make either people going to either just let it go by. Okay, fine. That's what he says. Or they'll say, what does that mean? And then they get tired of you fast. So cute answers are not the way either. Sometimes people answer those questions overly descriptively or just describing it at all. So what do you do for a living? Well, I help small businesses to streamline their operations by examining their current flow of business and see where they might be wasting money or wasting time. And then I offer programs that help them to da 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 da. Describing what you do is fine, but it doesn't compel and it doesn't sell either. So, just to teach you how to answer that question well, I'm going to do what I do with my clients. I'm going to do the same thing with you. I'm going to teach you how to answer that question well of what do you do for a living? First, I'm going to ask you 4 questions to consider. 4 questions to consider. The first question, I want to put you in a scene. Put you in a scene. Let's say that you're at a live networking event, and it's a good one. And at this live networking event, you met some cool people that you had never met before, but you were enjoying talking to them, and they're enjoying talking to you as well. And you're having cool network event kind of conversation. And one of these cool new people you just met says to you, so what is it that you do for a living? In that scene, what do you say? I want you to answer that question for yourself. What would you say in that scene when someone says, at a live event, if someone says, what do you do for a living? What would you say? I want you to think about what you would say, even say it out loud to yourself. What would you say in response to that? That's question 1. Question number 2. And we're not at the networking event anymore. It's just you and I talking. Question number 2 is, who do you believe would pay for your services? Who do you believe would pay for your services? And however you choose to answer that is the right way. Okay. Who do you believe would pay for your services? And then the third question. Now back up though. The second question, if I ask you, who do you believe, if you start your answer off with anybody who or everybody that, I already know your answer is incorrect, because anybody and everybody should not be your client, because anybody and everybody won't fit with you and your personality and the way you want to work. So if you answer that question of who do you believe would pay for your services, anybody that is the wrong answer. But come up with another one. Who do you believe would pay for your services? That's question 2. Question number 3. The people that choose to work with you, people that choose to hire you and pay you the money that you ask, what do you call them? What do you call them? Do you call them clients? Do you call them business partners? Do you call them members? What do you call them? Do you call them customers? What do you call the people that choose to buy from you or hire you or get your services that you're offering? And then the fourth question is, so what business would you say that you are in? And it's worded specifically that way for a reason. What business would you say you're in? Well, I'm in the communications business. I'm in the love business. I'm in the insurance business. I'm in the financial business. I'm in the real estate business. I'm in the da da da. That's what people say they're in. And I'm going to tell you, most of the time, probably 9 out of 10 times, people are in the business they say they're in, but they're not in the business they say they're in. And I proved my point just now. So think about those answers to those questions. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take out a clean sheet of paper. Think about how you answer those questions first. How you answer. Take out a clean sheet of paper. It's best if it's 8.5 by 11. Okay? Clean sheet of paper. Now I'm going to say to you something. I want you to hear me before you write anything down. If the answer to that third question of who do you believe would pay for your services, if that is, who do you call the people that pay for your services? What do you call them? If you can answer that question at all, if you call them clients or members or customers or whatever you call them, whatever you call the people that hire you, then your real business is the capturing and keeping of a new client or a new member or a new customer. The capturing and keeping of them. That's right. That's your business. And keeping of them, even if they don't ever buy from you again, you still keep them as your client or customer, because they can be the ones that refer you to more business. But if, for example, if you're a life insurance agent, and the people that work with you, you call them clients, then your real business is the capturing and keeping of a new client. Okay? If you're a coach, you're trying to get clients, your real business is the capturing and keeping of a new client. Yes, you do all the things you say you're going to do. That you do. Yes. If you're in the wellness and fitness business, and you're in the wellness business, you're in the fitness business, you're in the wealth coaching business. That is true. But what earns you money is securing a new client and keeping them. So if you agree with that statement on your clean sheet of paper, the first thing I want you to write down are these words: my real business is the capturing and keeping of a new client. Now, this is not what you tell people. I do not want you, if someone asks you in the street, what do you do for a living? You don't say, my business is capturing and keeping new clients. No. This is what I want you to merely understand. I don't want you to say this to other people. I want you to get this point. Get it in your point. Because if you understand that your real business is capturing and keeping of a new client, then that puts the proper focus on your time and on your workday. You'll find, just by understanding this point, you will find yourself doing more of the things that actually earn you money and less of the things that don't. More of the work-related things. If you push against a wall with the intent to move that wall at all, even if you got tired, if the wall didn't move at all, no work got done. Okay? So what is your purpose? Okay? There are so many things that you do in the course of a day that don't earn you money, but just getting you prepared to earn money. But understand that your real business is securing the business that puts the proper focus on your day. So and make that statement to your person, to yourself. My real business is the capturing and keeping of a new client. Now, once you've written that down, I want you to skip a couple of lines on your page and write these words. You know how, ... You know how, ... You know how, and ellipses. Now, once you've written that, I want you to skip on your page, skip 3 full lines, skip 3 full lines, and then write these words. Well, what I do is ... Well, comma, what I do is ... Well, what I do is ... Get that on your page. Well, what I do is ... After you have written that down, skip 3 more full lines. Skip 3 more full lines and write these words. So that they can ... So that they can ... And now skip 3 more full lines. After you have written so that they can ... Skip 3 full lines on your page and then write these words. My money is in my story. My money is in my story. My money is in my story. And on the very next line, write these words. Fit before fee. FIT before FEE. Now, on this page, you have just mapped out your story. You've mapped out the response to the question of, what do I do for a living? Or what do you do for a living? Let's go from the bottom up. Fit before fee. You have a right to your personality. You have a right to the way in which you want to work. You have a right to the rate of speed at which you want to work. And not everyone is going to fit with you and your personality. You're not even supposed to sell to everybody. You're only supposed to sell to the right fit for you. For example, the bully client, a man that's a bully. He's 65 years old. He's kind of a bully, and he doesn't really respect a lot of younger business people. If you're younger than his age, he doesn't really respect a lot of them anyway. And he's kind of like boisterous and bullying and overbearing, and he wants to tell you what to do first, second, and third. Is that a potentially good client for you? Now, if that's not a potentially good client for you, then you realize and you agree with me, not everyone's a good fit for you. But for the people that are a good fit for you, they should become your clients. It's always fit before fee. Now, your money is in your story. I do not want you to pitch, but I do want you to tell your story, because we know that there's 2 types of people that really love stories. One of them is children. They love stories. And the other one is adults. And we know that's true because we watch movies and we have TV shows, and we can't stand it when we don't know how the story ends. Can't stand it. So we know that your money is in your story. Now, I had you leave 3 blank lines in between those 3 different stanzas because I want you to use those blank lines to put whatever notion you need to put so that this makes sense to you. But whenever you're given an opportunity to answer the question of what do you do for a living, whether it's in person or via Zoom or on the phone or in any way, if they give you a chance to answer that question of what do you do for a living, the first thing I want you to do is to introduce into the conversation a problem that your services solves. They say, what do you do? I want you to introduce into the conversation a problem that's solved by you and your services. And I recommend you use the preface of you know how, because you know how is an invitation for them to agree with what you're about to say. So, what do you do for a living? You know how there's so many amazing and talented entrepreneurs that offer services that really, really do help people. But a lot of them don't earn nearly the money that they could or that they should. And very often they don't earn that money because they don't know how to sell it well, or they're using antiquated selling methodologies. Well, what I do is actually help them to sell themselves and their services better than they ever had before so they can earn more money than ever before. And I do it through my services as a sales coach and as an author and as a speaker so that they can actually earn more money and enjoy their businesses better than they ever have before. That's what I do. Back up to the point. What do you do for a living? You know how introduce an easy to understand problem that your services solves. If you're in the insurance business, you know how there are so many people completely confused about how to protect their resources and grow their money. They know they need some coverage, but they're not sure what's the best thing to do. You know what I mean? What you're going for is to introduce an easy to understand and easy to agree upon problem that's solved by you and your services. You know how there are, if you're into health and wellness, you know how there are so many people that have tried so many different diets and so many different exercise programs, and they still haven't gotten the body that they really, really want. And that frustrates them, or they don't like that part of it. Well, what I do is actually help them get the body that they really, really want. And I do it through my coaching services so that they can not only get that body, but actually get it much faster than they ever could have on their own. You know how? Well, what I do is so that they can. Your job on the first part of if someone asks you what you do for a living, your job is to introduce an easy to understand and easy to agree upon problem that is solved by you and your services. And your job is to not only introduce that problem to them, your job is to get them to agree that it's a problem. You're going to get them to agree that it's a problem. And any kind of agreement is enough. An is plenty. A yep, yes, anything implies anything that implies they understand and agree with the problem that you just introduced. Because the moment they have agreed with the problem that you introduced, that is the moment where they have metaphorically taken you by the hand. And now you can take them on a journey. You know how? Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Now they're holding your hand. Once you've gotten them to agree on the problem that you introduced, then you transition them and you introduce yourself as if you're the solution. You say, well, what I do is here. Well, what I do is, what you're doing is you're telling them that you do it, but you're not telling them how you do it. You're only telling them that you do it, and you're telling them that you do it through your services or through your coaching or through your programs or whatever it is. Well, what I do is actually help them to regain their bodies through my coaching or through my programs, not the how, not the, well, I sit down with them and I discuss how they actually eat and and then I do this. That comes later. But in the middle of the story part, you're just telling them that you do it, but not how. Your entire story takes about 30 seconds to tell. Right around 30 seconds. I'm teaching you how to build your story and how to build your map so that you can do this in 30 seconds. Well, what I do is you basically convey that you solve that problem through your services. You are painting yourself as if you and what you do are the solution to this problem. You're the solution to this problem. You are the answer to this particular question. And you are the aspirin to this particular headache. That's you. Yes, you are. Now, once you have introduced that you do it, then you transition them and say, so that they can. So that they can. Now, put some stars in front of the word so, because that last part of your story, your so that they can, that is more important than the beginning and the middle. The so that they can. Why do you do all this cool stuff that you do? You do all this cool stuff for what? You do all of this cool stuff so that they can earn more, enjoy their lives more, feel better about themselves, regain their temples, actually take that trip, actually live out the best versions of themselves, protect their money, grow their money. You must say a benefit of what you do. One or two benefits, that's enough. If you don't say a benefit, it's worse. It's as if you either don't have benefits or you've forgotten about benefits, but either way, it doesn't work. And if you don't say a benefit of what you do, again, they're going to lump you into the category of anyone else who does anything close. There is no one like you. No one has your collection of experiences. No one has your collection of knowledge. No one has seen all the things you've seen. So don't even let people put you in the category with others. You do all that cool stuff for what? So that they can something. That's what you have to do. Now, the ending of your story is more important, again, than the beginning and the middle. You can mess up the beginning of your story, the middle of your story, and still do a good ending and still win. Your whole story takes right around 30 seconds. You know how? Well, what I do is so that they can. Now, once you've mastered your story, once you've even just told it once, your story, here's what you need to know. It is going to take you 10 to 15 tries with 10 to 15 different people before you get your story right. Now, it'll feel good to you right away, but it's going to take between 10 and 15 to get it right. You are a professional. There's going to be a learning curve. Now, when I say get it right, you'll know you got it right when the listener to your story says the word wow or something like wow. Really? Wow. They're going to say wow. And when you hear them say wow, you're going to remember that Brother Brian told you they was going to say wow in response to you and your story. Yes, they will. That's what happens between 10 and 15. You might say it differently the next 9 times in a row, and that is okay. That is your learning curve. One point. The second point is over the next 4 or 5 people that you tell your story to, it's going to happen this fast for you. Over the next 4 or 5 people that you tell your story to, you're going to notice the quality of their responses to you will be on a higher level. You know how? Well, what I do is so that they can. You're going to notice that they say in response to that, really, or tell me more, or you know who you need to talk to, man, I wish I spoke to you last year. Oh my gosh, Joe needs to hear from you. They're going to start giving you that because with this story format, they now see you as a resource and as a benefit. One more tip when you build your story format and practice your story. After you say the words, you know how, don't say the words you or your anymore in your story. Once you say the words, you know how, don't say you or your. You know how you are fat and you don't know how you're doing? You know how your taxes suck and you don't know how to build the business? You don't want to say that at all. You want to keep it broad and through people instead of to people. You know how there are so many people. What I do is I help them so that they. You want to talk about so many people, them, they, others. Because when you use those terms, you're selling through the listener instead of to the listener, and you don't lose the listener. Plus, it allows the listener right up front to think about people in their network other than themselves that can use your services. And again, you don't lose them. This is the framework. This is the mapping of your story. Champions practice before the game. Amateurs practice on their very best prospects. This is the beginning of the journey for you. This starts everything. Mastering Your Story, in response to the question of what do you do for a living? My name is Brian K McNeill, and I am the Sales Confidence Coach. And I'm looking forward to the next stages of this journey with you.